Hey Lovebugs! I'm making this video today to give you my 10 tips for growing thick, healthy hair. Natural hair, probably relaxed hairs too as well, but I am on my natural hair journey, so that's why I say natural hair. But I think these tips would probably work regardless. I'm still on my journey. My journey goes until August 19th, 2014, and I'll still be taking care of my hair, of course, by then. I'm just really like set on a goal, like having waist length hair by August of 2014. I haven't hit any snags or of like having breakage or just setbacks. The only setback that I had was basically really a learning experience. Within the first 9 months, I think on my 5th month, I flat ironed my hair, and I got all of it straight except for the last inch. I just couldn't get to straighten out. It was just all over the place, and so I cut it off. And you know, the hairstyle was even. It was a hot mess, but it was, you know, even. And then when I flat ironed my hair again, I think at 8 or 9 months, same thing, where it was nice and straight, but the ends just were not laying right, so I cut them again, and I cut about an inch off each time. Well, no, I cut an inch off each time. So that was 2 inches that I lost then. And then I eventually learned to do the following method with a comb, and then even after that, I learned that my ends really have to be blow dried with a round brush in order to get them to lay straight. That's just, even using the attachments just really doesn't work with my hair. I have to use a round brush if I want to get my ends nice and straight. But it was just a learning experience. It wasn't like a setback. I haven't had any battles with, you know, dry spells. My hair hasn't went through a dry spell since I first cut it. Once I did my, you know, deep conditioning with my oils, my hair hasn't had any dry spells, any breakage. I did have a little bit of an issue with one strand knots, but they weren't. It wasn't a whole bunch of them. It was just like, oh, I'm getting these one strand knots, and I don't get them anymore, because I don't. If I do my wash and goes, which is rare, I do the curly girl method, and that stopped with the one single strand knots. And when I do those wash and goes, I have to wash it every day. I have to put more conditioner in every day. I can't wear a wash and go and do that whole pineappling thing, and then just refresh it the next morning. It doesn't work with my type of hair. So these are just the tips that I've gone by and that have been working for me. I can't do a length check right now, but my hair, and it's actually a little bit longer than that when it's out of the twist. But as you see, it's there when it was like here, I think, in December. It goes down to there. And here goes down to there. And here it goes down to there, in there somewhere, in my boobie area. Yeah, about there. Okay. So the first thing is moisture. And there's a lot of different products that people use out here. I stick with natural things. I mean, when I do braid outs and things like that, I think it is good, like I like to use the Shea Moisture line. And the reason I like to use the Shea Moisture line as opposed to other lines is because I try not to shampoo my hair too often, no more than once a month. And so I use products. If I'm not using natural oils and I use products, I only use products that are water soluble, which means they will wash out as I let the water, you know, trickle on my head and everything. If they're not water soluble, then they have to be shampooed out because you will get buildup. Now, if you're a person that, you know, prefers to shampoo your hair once a week or shampoo your hair once every 2 weeks, then using those type of products isn't a bad thing. But if you're the type of person who really prefers to co-wash your hair more often than shampooing, then you really need to be careful, because you could be causing buildup on your hair strands and your scalp by using products that aren't water soluble. So even though you're co-washing, and then the conditioners aren't really getting to do their job anyway, because it's still a layer of that other product on your scalp and on your hair. You want to learn your oils. Only 2 oils actually penetrate into your hair strand. That's coconut oil and olive oil. Coconut oil, you also have to be very careful with, because you want to get unrefined or extra virgin coconut oil. The coconut oil at Walmart that says organic coconut oil is refined. It doesn't smell like coconut oil. It has been processed too much to have any real benefits for your hair. So you want to either go to Whole Foods, the vitamin shop, somewhere that has the extra virgin coconut oil. It should smell like coconut oil, and that's where you really get the benefits from. For a while, I was using that one from Walmart too, the refined one, and then something told me to do some research, and I did, and I saw that it wasn't the right one. So you really want to make sure that it smells like coconut oil and it's extra virgin. Now, extra virgin olive oil is easier to come by. And it's actually cheaper, because I know a small thing of the extra virgin coconut oil is like $8.99, at the cheapest. It's the cheapest that I've seen it here in South Carolina. And olive oil, a lot of people use olive oil more in their treatments. And I think that's also too because the smell isn't as pleasant. With coconut oil, I use coconut oil every night. My hair doesn't stink. I always throw my hair in my boyfriend's face. I'm always like, smell my hair, does it stink, But he, especially when I first put it on there, he really likes the smell of it. Of course, through the day, the smell goes away. But those are your main 2 for really penetrating your hair strands. I prefer to use the coconut oil because it does smell better. But you can use olive oil if you don't have coconut oil at the time. And then the other oils basically are sealants. They seal in. So if you're just using I'm just only using jojoba oil, your hair isn't getting penetrated. If you're just using castor oil, your hair isn't getting penetrated. It's really just sealing in whatever moisture is already on the hair. So if you just rinsed your hair, there's actually water still in your hair, which is a moisture. Then if you're putting it on then yeah, it's sealing in that water. But you kind of want to seal in an oil, because it's a little heavier, more penetrating. Water doesn't really have any true strengthening to the hair, even though you do want to I like to mist my hair daily as well. And when I use my coconut oil, I put coconut oil on my hair, and then I spray it with a mixture of water and aloe vera juice. I don't do any particular measuring. I just put it in the bottle, and then I spray it on, and that's just to really correct the pH balance of my hair and to close my cuticles around the coconut oil that's in there doing its business. And then in the morning, before I go outside, now that it's humid, I use a mixture of vegetable glycerin and water. And vegetable glycerin is I think it's called a humectant. I think that's the correct way you say it. And it basically pulls moisture out of the air into your hair. Now, if you are in a dry climate, it will actually pull moisture out of your hair to put in the air. So you've got to be really careful of knowing your environment where you're at. It's getting very humid here now, so that's why I use it now, and I didn't use it so much during the winter. The next thing is protective styling. I think you really need to be careful with protective styling, but it is also very important, but it's not a mandatory thing. I've seen people who rarely put their hair in protective styles, and their hair seems to be growing right on schedule. They're keeping it moisturized, so they're not having any setbacks. I think protective styling is important when you're going through a stage of either you're going to be going to a situation where you're not really going to have time to really mess with your hair every day. That's a good time for protective styling. Or if you really find yourself getting frustrated with your hair, putting in a protective style will not only give you a break from having to mess with it so much and putting less stress on your hair. It also gives you time to miss it, because a lot of times with us naturals, when we put our hair in a protective style, within a week, you're missing playing with, your little curls and, things like that. So it gives you time to miss it. And, I do like it, protective styles, but I rarely leave my protective styles in more. I don't think I've left anything in besides these twists and a set of another twist, maybe 2 other sets of twists, more than 2 weeks. And that's only been since September of last year. Before September of last year, my whole 2 years, I didn't have any hairstyle longer than a week. No matter how long it took me to do it, it only stayed in a week. And then once I hit started doing my challenge when I turned 2 years, I was putting my hair in twists for 2 weeks. And then like just wearing it freely and twist outs and whatnot for the other 2 weeks. So protective styling, very important. Detangling. I prefer to finger detangle most of the time. I put my hair in my 4 sections when I'm in the shower, and I prefer to finger detangle it. And now what I do at least twice a month, I do detangle using this comb. And if it's a time where I'm going to be flat ironing my hair, then I use this comb to detangle. And then this comb is what I comb my hair with as I'm trying to really get it straight just before I flat iron it. But even after that, I go back to using this one when my hair is actually flat ironed. And putting your hair in anywhere from 4 to 6 sections is very beneficial for anybody who's a 3 or a 4. It just makes it easier. I think if you are a 4B or 4C, you don't need to be using anything like a tangle teaser or a dimming brush, because we have, especially with me, because I do have some 4A in here, you get the urge, like even when you're detangling and you're going up, those 4C hairs that are in there, which I have some down here, they curl back up so quickly that I think they're easy to get snapped, because you think, oh, I just detangled all of this here, so I should be able to come up here and go straight down there with that brush. I don't think so. I think that's when you get your snaps. So I think when you have 4B and 4C hair, you really have to be careful with trying to use a dimming brush, because you see some people on YouTube using it. Those are times where you really need to know and accept your hair texture and love it and your hair type, because just because you see somebody with 4A using a dimming brush doesn't mean it's going to work for 4C. It's going to be your hair, our hair in those sections are very fragile, and you're just going to be snapping. So I think that's where a lot of people hit a snag and a setback with breakage, is during that detangling phase. And I also think finger detangling it first from the bottom and working your way up, just a simple little thing like this, makes a difference. You don't have to really go through like that, but just pulling through with your fingers and working your way up. You can catch a knot there, and to go in and gently pull that apart. It makes a whole lot of difference. Co-washing. Be sure to try to use conditioners that are water soluble, because they'll wash off the hair, and products too will wash off the hair. So the next time you co-wash, you're really starting with a semi-clean slate. It's not going to be as clean as if you shampooed it, but it's cleaner than if you used conditioners that have a cone in them, because they still will have some sort of film, which means you'll end up getting buildup. I have not had problems with buildup my entire 2.5 years of being natural, because my first year, I say a year and, I don't know, 10 months, I was shampooing once a week or once every 2 weeks. Then I learned about the curl to grow method, and I started doing that. And when I was shampooing once every 2 weeks, and I was co-washing like every, I'd say 3 to 4 days, maybe 4 days at the least, or at the most maybe, I don't know. But I did a lot of co-washing, but I only shampooed, and anytime I shampooed, I deep conditioned. Like I never shampooed my hair and didn't deep condition, and I usually did my deep condition before, so it was more or less stripping that stuff out of my hair, not just stripping out my oils. The next thing is during the summer, I highly approve the curl and grow method for people who are 4A, 4B, and 4C. I have all of that in my hair, and all of it really benefited from the curl and grow method. I started seeing really no split ends. I have not had split ends in my hair since October. Since October, I think I've maybe seen maybe 4 split ends, because whenever I shed hair, I always pick them up and look at them. And when I detangle my hair, I like to go through, I don't go through the whole pot of shred hair, but I pick up, a few of them, and I look at the tips to make sure there's that ball on it, and I look at the ends. I look at the ball to make sure it was shed and not snapped off, and I look at my ends just to see. And I still am not having any problems. And I haven't been doing this curl and grow method this winter, but I've just been keeping my hair more moisturized. But I really think the curl and grow method is a really great thing for our type of hair. Deep condition your hair monthly or weekly if you flat iron your hair several times a week. Deep conditioning is very important. I think if you, I don't have any dye in my hair, and I don't flat iron my hair very often, so I'm only deep conditioning once a month. But if I had color in my hair, I would do it more as well if you've colored your hair. Always use a satin pillowcase or a bonnet or a headscarf like that. I recommend using a headscarf and bonnet every night, but having a satin pillowcase on your pillow anyway, in case it's a night that you forget or you lay down and then you didn't feel like getting up to get the head bonnet, your head is covered on that aspect of already having a satin pillowcase. But even if you have a satin pillowcase, I would automatically wear, because I think you get less tangles and matting and shifting of hair if you have something kind of holding it down. Combining aloe vera juice with your leave-in conditioner or a daily moisturizer is a really good thing. I don't combine them, but I spray it on. But I think for some people it might be easier to just combine them. For me, it's easier to just have it in a spray bottle to spray it on after I put my coconut oil on. When you shampoo, sulfate-free shampoo only, and deep condition before or after. I try it one way one time and another way another time to see which way your hair likes it better, because your hair may like to be deep conditioned after, but your hair may do better if you deep conditioned before it. Each person's hair may be different, so I try it either way to see which really gives you the best results for your hair. And then 10, just pay attention to your hair. If your hair starts to feel a little different, don't wait for it to start snapping off, because it could be something like you could have moved to a new place and it has hard water. It could be the environment, it could be stress. But just pay attention to your hair, because when you start to notice changes, you'll get a chance to fix it before it becomes a complete setback where you're losing inches because you weren't able to retain it because you waited till the last second. A lot of times when people go through breakage, their hair was dry a little bit before that. I don't think the hair just started, I just combed it one day and it was shredding. No, I think it was probably dry for a while, and you were more or less maybe piling products on it that wasn't really doing anything for it. If you feel dryness, research. I recommend using coconut oil, olive oil, mayo, things like that, home products to do your deep conditioning, because some of the products that you find out there on the line have so much stuff in them that they may have some stuff in there that's doing good, but there might be some stuff in there that's not doing good. Well, with home products, you're really getting what you put in there. So that's just what I recommend. My deep conditionings, I use mayo, eggs, honey. That's what I use my deep conditionings. I don't buy deep conditioning products anymore because I just feel like there's too much extra junk in them. So those are my tips for retaining length and staying forward on your journey towards having healthy hair. I hope they help you, and don't forget to subscribe and like and comment if you have any questions.